Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 2 Club's Smart Woman's Guide to Breakups and Everything After. Today, I'm here with Jackie Mazur, a certified financial planner and certified divorce financial analyst. And we're going to be talking about how to manage your finances after the child support ends. Hello.
Hi.
Tough topic.
Absolutely. And something that I think that a lot of women are faced with, especially if they were stay-at-home moms or if they step back their career
Right.
while raising children.
Which I would say is the majority of women out there.
It's a lot of women out there, definitely. Of course, while your children are young, you have more expenses. So part of the child support, once the child support ends, your expenses may go down a little bit on their own because you're not having to pay for camps and daycares and the other things that children create financially. But when your child support ends, and potentially when your spousal support ends as well, is another area, it can be a big shock because a lot of times that's either 100% of somebody's income or a good portion, 50 to 70% of that income. And so now you're left with only a portion of what you need to live off of.
Right.
And so there's a couple different things that you can do to prepare for that. One would be, depending on the amount of time you have until that support ends, one thing I often recommend is trying to get an advanced degree or even a college degree or maybe even a certification in something. It doesn't have to be a 2 or a 4-year school.
Right.
It can just be a certification that helps you be more marketable.
Yeah.
I have a client recently who got a project management certification. And as a result of that certification, she's more marketable to a higher paid job that will allow her to then be able to support herself.
Right.
Another option for planning for this is taking a look at when the divorce occurs, how much in cash or in assets are you receiving?
Okay.
As a lump sum.
Okay.
Sometimes that's your retirement assets. Sometimes it's a buyout of the house. Sometimes it's just stock or cash. And people are often inclined to take all of that money or a big chunk of it to put down on a house.
Right.
Or to do something with very quickly. But one of the things that's important to prepare for is if you're going to need that money down the line to supplement your income, where's the best place to put it?
Right.
So that it is earning money, but that you can still access it.
Yes.
So maybe
which real estate might be a good option.
Could be,
but then you might have to sell the house later to use that, right?
Right. Yeah. Or if you're going to refinance it to pull money out, you are going to need to show that you have income to do that.
Right.
So that can get a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Because typically when you're getting a loan and you have support, they want to see that the support's going to continue for at least 3 more years.
Right.
And so if you wait too long,
yeah,
you may not qualify for the loan to pull the money out.
Right.
And if you're settled, yes, you could certainly downsize, but you may not want to. So definitely looking at that as an option. The other option would be to maybe put a little bit less down and to save some of that money in cash, to put some of it in investments that aren't retirement accounts or aren't tied up.
Okay.
Mainly, what's important to figure out is how much might you need.
Right.
And how can we find the way to generate that level of income.
Okay.
So definitely important. Another option, if you've bought the house, might be the opposite. Maybe it makes sense to try to pay off the house.
Right.
So that once your income drops, you have less expenses.
Good point.
And then you can afford to live.
Yeah.
So the challenging thing with giving divorce or giving advice to a whole bunch of people is that everybody's situation is totally different.
Right.
And so it's very important to just really look at what you have, what are your resources, what do you have available, and make a plan around that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it was definitely important to the planning aspect, and just when you have that amount of time, just to, don't just sit there and think it's going to keep coming in, right? And just really getting yourself back to where you need to be, or just even the point of where you should be once that ends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a client recently who was considering divorce. They hadn't gone through the process yet.
Yeah.
And we actually did an analysis to figure out, would it make sense to wait to propose the divorce for another year or 2 until she got a nursing degree?
Interesting.
So that once the divorce was final, basically her and her husband was paying for half of school because they were still married.
Yes.
Where if she waited until they were divorced, she was going to have to pay for all of school. So she
Great
actually
idea.
decided to stick with it
Yeah.
for a little bit of time
Yeah.
so that he was paying for her
Right.
schooling,
Right.
or at least half of it.
Yeah.
And then when the divorce was final, then she could get a job. And
Right.
granted, that did lower her support a little bit.
Yeah.
But she still had more money in
Yes.
her pocket, and she didn't have to cover the full cost of that schooling on her
Right.
own.
And then in the long run, she's better off and more financially independent. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So sometimes thinking about things even before the process
Yes.
can be very helpful,
Yes.
depending on your situation and how badly you need to get out.
Right.
It
right.
could be worth sticking with it for another
Yeah,
year
yeah.
if it in the end could help
Right.
in the long term.
Yeah, like we were saying, everyone's situation's different, but I agree with that, you know, thinking about it instead of acting on impulse with your emotions really can benefit you in the long run.
Absolutely.
Especially with finances, so.
Definitely.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah.
We'll see you next time.